This is another podcast from Alpha Business Media. Welcome to the deep dive. We're really glad you're with us. Today, we're diving into a stack of material you've shared that's about a really fascinating intersection. We're talking ancient craft traditions meeting modern technology. Our mission, basically, is to understand the potential here. Can you actually build global businesses around Nepalese handicrafts? We want to look at the core problems, the opportunities that technology might offer, and some specific business models the sources you gave us lay out.
Yeah, and the material, it really paints a compelling picture. It shows this, well, significant but often pretty undervalued market. And it details how digital tools, well, they could genuinely revolutionize things. And the benefit isn't just, for global consumers hunting for something authentic, but, and this is crucial, it's for the artisans themselves, the people who are really the living heart of these traditions.
Exactly. So let's unpack this. We should probably start where the sources do, right at the heart of it. These incredible crafts and the pretty big challenges they face actually reaching a global market that seems, hungry for them.
What jumps out right away is just how vividly the sources describe these crafts. We were talking about skills passed down through generations. You've got fifth-generation goldsmiths in Patan, master woodcarvers in Bhaktapur, thangka artists near Boudhanath stupa. These aren't just, items. The material actually calls them the living, breathing soul of Nepal. It talks about pashmina, singing bowls, masks, carpets, those intricate thangkas, wood carving, pottery, even things like lakta paper. It really emphasizes the cultural weight behind them beyond just commerce.
But then almost immediately, the sources highlight this major hurdle for the global buyer who wants that genuine article. They call it a thorny path, filled with middlemen, tour shops where the quality is, and let's say questionable, and online stores that might say handmade, but, as the source bluntly puts it, could be hiding something much less authentic, maybe even soulless stamping.
Soulless stamping. That phrase really hits home, doesn't it? And if you connect that to the bigger picture in the material, it becomes clear the biggest loser in this whole inefficient kind of opaque system, it's the artisan.
Right.
Their incredible talent, decades of practice maybe, all those hours of work. They end up seeing just a tiny fraction of the price someone pays for it overseas. The value chain, that the source says it straight out, is broken.
Broken. That's a strong word. And the sources really try to illustrate why. Let's maybe dig into that broken chain mentioned in Chapter 1. How does a piece actually get from the artisan's workshop in Nepal to, say, a buyer in London?
Well, the sources lay it out step by step, and you can really see where the value gets lost. It typically starts with the craftsman. They sell to a local buyer. That buyer sells to a wholesaler, usually in Kathmandu. The wholesaler then sells to an exporter. The exporter ships it off to an importer in another country.
Right.
That importer then sells it to a retail shop, maybe a gallery or a boutique, and then finally it reaches the actual buyer.
Wow, that's, 6 stages?
At least 6 distinct stages, yeah.
Yeah.
And each one adds cost, takes a cut.
It's no wonder the artisan gets so little then. And that example they use, the thangka master, it makes it so clear. Spending maybe 100 hours, that's like 2.5 full work weeks, on one complex painting. Highly skilled work. And they might receive, $150, maybe $200 for it?
Yeah, somewhere in that range.
And then that same piece, with all that skill and history, it sells for $2,000, maybe $3,000 in a gallery somewhere else. That's a huge chunk of the value, the profit, just gone, lost to the creator along that chain.
It really highlights the problem, the urgency. And this is where the sources pivot, They ask that key question. How can technology disrupt this? How can digital platforms maybe cut out 3-4 of those stages? Collapse that chain and redirect that value back to the person who actually made the thing.
Which leads us nicely into the opportunity. The sources argue, pretty convincingly, I think, that digital tech, e-commerce sites, social media, online platforms, they offer this unique chance.
Yeah.
A chance to build a direct bridge from that master craftsman near Kathmandu straight to an art lover or someone looking for unique decor in, say, California or Berlin.
Okay.
Cutting out all those expensive, murky middlemen.
And they really stress it's not just about selling something. It's about enabling a connection.
Yeah.
Selling the product, yes, but also telling its story. Putting the artisan's face to the piece.
Yeah.
And making sure they get fair compensation. The material frames it quite powerfully, actually. Not just as a business idea, but as a way to help preserve this unique cultural heritage that's literally embodied in these skills and to directly improve the lives of the families carrying these traditions.
And just to underline the scale here, the sources point out this isn't some tiny little niche. The global market for handcrafted goods, it's already massive, hundreds of billions of dollars.
Right.
And the projection, it's kind of staggering, approaching $1 trillion within the decade. Wow. That's a serious market.
Absolutely. And a big driver, according to the material, is this major shift in what consumers want. Younger people, millennials, Zoomers, they're actively moving away from generic, mass-produced stuff.
Yeah, you see that everywhere.
They're looking for authenticity, uniqueness. They care about ethical production. They want the story behind the item.
Yeah.
And that lines up almost perfectly with what traditional handmade crafts offer, doesn't it?
It really does. So, okay, the sources identify the problem, this broken system, incredible talent, growing demand, and then they outline potential solutions. They lay out 3 specific business models, ones that have worked elsewhere, that could be adapted for connecting Nepalese artisans online.
Yes. And it's important, as the sources note, these aren't just generic set up a website ideas.
Yeah.
You need the right model, one that really fits the specific needs of the artisans in Nepal and what those international buyers are looking for.
Okay, let's break down the first one. Model 1. The sources call it the Himalayan Etsy, a curated marketplace. What does that actually involve?
So, according to the source, this is basically an online platform. Multiple independent artisans or maybe small family workshops can set up their own digital storefronts. They sell their goods directly. But the key word here is supervised.
Supervised, meaning?
Meaning the platform team doesn't just let anyone sign up, they actively vet participants. They check for quality, for genuine handmade authenticity, and for adherence to ethical standards, like fair trade ideas, making sure the pricing is transparent for the artisan too.
Okay, so the platform provides the tech side, like the website builder, payment processing, which can be tricky internationally, right? Like Stripe or PayPal, shipping calculators maybe?
Exactly. All the technical backbone. The artisans manage their own products, their inventory, pricing, talking to customers. But the platform provides support, maybe even in Nepali. And crucially, the platform handles the global marketing.
Ah, the heavy lifting, SEO, social media, driving traffic.
Right. Plus, potentially offering centralized logistics help, like negotiating better rates with DHL or FedEx because they have volume which an individual artisan can't get, and helping navigate that complex export paperwork.
And how does the platform make money?
Typically, the sources say it's a commission on sales, maybe 15 to 25%, or sometimes a small monthly fee, or they might offer extra paid services like professional photography.
Okay, so the key to making that work is trust, right? Through that careful selection.
Absolutely. Building trust with buyers is paramount, and making the platform super easy for artisans to actually use. And storytelling, the sources stress this, is vital. Rich profiles, videos of the process, family histories, that's what connects with the buyers.
Makes sense. Okay, moving on from the marketplace idea. Model 2 is pretty different. The vertically integrated brand, they call it the Digital Artisan Guild. How's this structured?
Yeah, here the platform is the brand itself. They're not just a host. They are the name the customer knows and buys from.
So they're more involved.
Much more. The sources say they actively collaborate with artisans. The company team analyzes global trends, develops collection concepts. The examples were interesting, like minimalist Himalayas or maybe spiritual artifacts for modern homes.
Right.
They find the best masters for specific things, commission exclusive orders. They control the whole process, really. Sourcing materials, strict quality control, professional photos, branded packaging, all the logistics.
That sounds like a lot more investment and control. How does the money work there?
It's a direct retail markup. The company buys the finished pieces from a select group of artisans at an agreed fixed price. This gives the artisan stable income, which is a huge plus.
Yeah, predictability.
And the company sells those items under its own brand name, adding its markup to the end consumer.
Got it. So the keys here, according to the sources, are building a really strong brand identity, having great taste and curation, and absolutely strict quality control.
Exactly. And building long-term partnerships with maybe a smaller core group of artisans. Plus, you need really effective inventory management and smooth international logistics. It definitely requires more upfront capital and carries more risk, but the potential for higher margins and brand recognition is also greater.
Definitely a different beast.
Yeah.
Okay, Model 3. This one feels maybe the most cutting edge. The experience plus purchase platform or the virtual workshop. This isn't just selling stuff, is it? It's selling the experience.
That's exactly it. The core idea, as the sources describe it, is selling involvement, a unique cultural experience alongside the physical product. It's kind of a hybrid, part e-commerce, part online learning, part interactive entertainment.
So what does that look like in practice? The sources gave examples, right?
Right, really creative ones. Like, imagine live streams direct from an artisan's workshop. People worldwide tune in, watch a master carving wood or painting a mandala, maybe ask questions through a translator,
Wow, cool.
and then they can buy that specific piece right there or order something similar.
Yeah.
Or selling access to online masterclasses taught by the artisans, sharing techniques or the meaning behind the craft, and that create your own design idea, letting customers customize things online. Choose colors for a pashmina, add initials to a carving, select symbols for a thangka.
Okay, so monetization is direct sales, plus selling access to workshops, plus customization fees.
Precisely. Success here, the sources emphasize, really depends on high-quality video and reliable streaming. You need engaging presenters or translators, and strong community management to build a loyal audience. This model aims for the deepest emotional connection, really.
Three very distinct approaches. But the sources then get practical, don't they? Laying out implementation steps, challenges.
Yeah.
Step one seems foundational, building that artisan network.
Yeah, actual field work, getting boots on the ground in places like Patan, Bhaktapur, meeting artisans face-to-face, choosing them based on skill, but also their willingness to engage, commitment to fair trade, price transparency, all that from the start.
Then picking the tech platform. The sources seem pragmatic here, suggesting Shopify with plugins for a quicker start, maybe for Model 1.
Right, the marketplace.
Yeah.
Or maybe Magento, or even custom development for the more complex Models 2 and 3, the brand or the experience platform where you need more control. And crucially, integrating those international payment gateways that work from Nepal, like Stripe or PayPal.
And content creation. Wow, the sources called it 50% of success. That's huge.
It really underscores how vital visual storytelling is. Not just good product photos, though you definitely need those, but portraits of the masters, videos of them working, showing the products in modern homes, short interviews, bringing that human story forward.
And then the big one, logistics, called the most difficult stage.
Yeah, getting unique, often fragile items safely across the world. That's a puzzle. Partnering with carriers like DHL, FedEx for corporate rates, developing packaging that's protective, but also looks good, maybe eco-friendly, and definitely needing a good customs broker in Nepal for all the export paperwork, like certificates of origin.
Sounds like a major hurdle. And finally, once all that's set up, digital marketing.
Yep. SEO is key, thinking about what people actually search for, like authentic singing bowl Nepal. Visual social media, obviously Instagram, Pinterest. Content marketing, like a blog exploring the history or symbolism. And influencer collaborations, travel, design, fashion bloggers who align with the brand.
These practical steps really highlight that while the vision is amazing, making it happen takes serious planning, investment, especially in content, and nailing those logistics.
Oh, definitely.
So as the sources wrap up, they frame this whole idea as, well, more than just business as usual. It's at this intersection of commerce, technology, and social impact.
Right. They point out that in our world of mass production, that demand for genuine authenticity, for things made by human hands, with a real story, that's only growing. Entrepreneurs going into this will face challenges, no doubt. Quality control across different workshops, those logistics. But the potential rewards, the sources argue, go way beyond just profit.
How so?
Well, success means giving a voice, a stable income, a fairer future to potentially hundreds of skilled Nepalese artisans. It actively helps preserve ancient techniques, traditions that might otherwise fade away.
Right.
And lets people worldwide connect with the real culture of Nepal in a meaningful way.
It's described as this rare case where success isn't just financial, it's also measured in, well, positive cultural contribution.
Which kind of leaves us with a final thought for you, our listener, doesn't it? Thinking beyond Nepal, maybe about other traditional crafts or cultural heritage in communities elsewhere. Where else could technology unlock similar opportunities? Opportunities for preservation, for economic empowerment, and for sharing that richness with the world.
That brings us to the end of our deep dive today. We've explored building global businesses around Nepalese crafts using technology based entirely on the material you shared.
We've covered the value chain issues, the market potential, those 3 distinct business models, and the nitty-gritty practical steps involved.
We really hope this discussion gives you a clearer, maybe more nuanced view of this incredible intersection of tradition and tech and the real impact it could have.
Thank you for sharing these sources with us. We hope this deep dive has provided some valuable insights for your own learning journey.